Oh, what am I doing over there? Why am I on the right-hand side, Tony? What's going on?
I
This
don't
feels
know.
very strange. I just realised at the last minute there that would be the case. Uh, Listen, apologies everyone for the technical issues and the fact we're a little bit late. I might be able to tell I'm off my phone today. Laptop just decided to stop working earlier, Tony. It's doing its best to spoil my good mood, but it's going to take a lot to spoil my good mood
I
after
don't
last
think
night.
anything can spoil your good mood, let's be honest. Brilliant.
Nah, it
Absolutely
was
brilliant.
unbelievable, wasn't it? I mean, it's been one long day for me. I'm still living the same day, but it must be amazing for you waking up and you know that moment. I always say the moment when you wake up and you remember what's happened the night
Yeah.
before, and it's horrendous when you lose a bad game and you wake up and it's almost like you're going through the pain again. But after a night like last night, when you wake up and remember Celtic 3, Leipzig 1, it's a pretty good feeling.
It's a game for the ages, Hamish, isn't it? I kind of finished the pod last night and said that it'll be one where we will remember that 5th of November. It was just everything
Yeah.
that you hoped it would be. And a Celtic performance where you took on a real heavyweight, and they are a top team, top European side, and you gave them a lesson, and it was just a joy to watch. When Leipzig scored, they had that header that went wide of the post, and they had a chance where the boy screamed one high and wide. After that, when Celtic equalised, they were the best team by a considerable distance, and outstanding performances from every player on that park, and the execution of a game plan, which, if you'd have said to anybody after Dortmund, you would take 4 points from Atalanta
Mm-hmm.
and RB Leipzig, they would have just laughed in your face, Hamish. But Brendan Rodgers, and fair play to him, he kept with it, told everybody who was prepared to listen that there was learning and development and growth, and that's what you saw last night in absolute abundance.
I was just so happy watching the game because I mean we've all supported Celtic for a fair amount of time. We've had results like last night before, um, maybe not as frequently in recent years as was the case at the start of the century, but we've had results like that. I can't remember the last time I saw Celtic play like that against that level of opposition. And as you say, like any neutral watching that game last night would confidently have said not just that we were the better team, but that we were the better team by a considerable margin. I mean, it was like I wouldn't say I was surprised by the level of the performance because I really rate this team and I've talked them up a lot and I think that's why Dortmund away was so disappointing because I knew deep down we were so much better than that. But the fact they were able to show it last night against, I don't know, arguably as good a team as Dortmund, albeit at Celtic Park, was just brilliant. I'm so glad that they've nailed a result now to to back up the hype because up until this team didn't have a marquee result in the Champions League. They do now, and the way they played. I mean, and like the thing is that I think they're only going to get better as well. Like I know we always say that, but it's a young team.
I actually think they've got two marquee results playing two different ways. They went out to Bergamo to get a result, Hamish, and they got one with a solid backs to the wall defensive performance, wee bit more ambition in the final third, bit of composure, could have won. But then they set about their task at home with gusto against a top side, and they've came away convincing winners. And I think that's you take from that back to back, and that's 3 wins on the spin at Celtic Park.
First time since 2007.
Yeah, in the Champions League. So as Joe Hart used the word in the commentary box last night, growth. You're seeing the growth and development of this Celtic team, and I think that's what pleased me most. It is the best result of Brendan Rodgers' tenure as a Celtic manager in Europe over both uh,
I
his
think it's the
spell.
best result just in general. To be
Uh,
honest, like
and it's the best, but it's not just the result. You said you've had results like that before. It's the performance. Two of them were married together. performance and the result. I always say that, and they got both last night, and that's what you woke up this morning. Again, you're just so proud of the team. You were proud of Bergamo for different reasons, but you're so proud of this team because you think to yourself, they are going to get better. And at the start or the outset of this new format, to finish in the top 8 would have been crazy talk. But that's the goal they have to now set the players inwardly. I was saying last night, set them that target. If they don't, so be it. But outwardly say, well, we're between 9 and 24, then we've still had a good campaign. But the goalposts have changed. Celtic are in 7 points after 4 games is an unbelievable haul. And they've got Club Brugge and Young Boys of Bern at Celtic Park to come. They are games where you think none of the next 4 games give me the fear, Hamish. Even Aston Villa away. I can't wait for that now.
Yeah, I mean, the way it's going, there's a fair chance ourselves and Villa will already be guaranteed what we want. But I think an interesting part of this league phase, and it shows how far we've come on. You're mentioning top 8. Fair enough. I think three more wins would do it. I mean, if we finish top 8, it's one of the most ridiculous achievements in our history, given the teams we're up against. I would bet against that. But I think you're right. I mean, the fact we're even discussing it, for me, the kind of bigger thing is how high can we finish, and positions 9 to 24 all get into this next round. But the higher you finish, the better a draw you're likely to get. I say likely because it depends on who finishes where, and it'd be the most Celtic thing ever for us to finish like 9th and then get Real Madrid who have finished 24th or something like that. But the very fact we're discussing that as a positive, and already I'm looking at it going, let's not just squeak into the top 24. Let's try and get as high up as we can. Can we finish in the top half of the table, top 18? I think so. I mean, we're 13th at the moment, and we've come through the really difficult games, you would think. So, I mean, that's what's there for the team.
But that's what I mean. I think that 9th to 24th, I think, will be the aim, obviously, and it's well within their grasp. But I think inwardly they'll set themselves a wee target of trying to crash that top 8. I think, can they do that? I think Brendan Rodgers would say to them, can you do that? Prove you're good enough to go and do that. And we spoke about it yesterday. We were hoping that we will look back on the Dortmund game as the aberration in the league phase, and that's fine. And they're certainly going the right way about that. And as you say, it's the most positive and enthusiastic you've been about Celtic in a long, long time. Because that performance was just that's out with Sporting Lisbon hammering Man City. I think that's the performance of the week in Europe.
Yeah.
I know AC Milan have gone to the Bernabeu 1-3-1 as well, but for me, Celtic beating Leipzig trumps that,
AC Milan, Real Madrid, who are they? Behind us in the table, both of them, aren't they? Bayern Munich behind us as well. Back you go, lads.
Thought you were going to bust out the song there, AC Milan, Real Madrid. Who are you trying to kid?
There is a song to do with that,
yeah. But
it's the first time it's the first time in our actual history that the song is actually
you can sing
some sort of sense and not be ironic.
But and I think the former manager said that you're allowed to dream about these things. But I'd happily settle for somewhere as high as we can finish, Hamish, in that top 24. But going, if they get into that top 8, it will be a phenomenal achievement for a club like Celtic. Absolutely brilliant. And delighted for the manager and delighted for that squad of players because they took a bit of a doing after Dortmund. A lot of criticism, and the manager told everybody who would listen that they'll learn from it and they'll dust themselves down. And you kind of thought, we've heard this before, and he'd also said that he wasn't going to change the way he's approached and all that, and everybody was starting, you need to be more pragmatic, you need to do this, you need to do that. Brendan Rodgers did it his way, and his way last night proved to be sensational. And also, we spoke all during the weekend, we said it was there for the taking, didn't we? Every one of us was right. We felt that. We just felt there was something special in the offing.
And listen, I'm going to be smug for a little minute. I know we've not achieved anything yet, but right from the start of pre-season, I've been saying and I've been saying that last season Celtic weren't far away, weren't as far away as people thought last season in the Champions League. I know the results weren't great. We won one game and it was a dead rubber, but if you were actually looking beyond the results at the performances, certainly at Celtic Park, I thought there was a lot of positivity and optimism to be taken from last season. And it was clear that we needed to improve in a number of positions. And I think clearly from last season's team, we've improved the personnel. Nicholas Kuhn is an absolute revelation. The difference between Kuhn and whoever we had playing in those positions last season is immense, and you see that last night. Austin Trusty is an immense improvement on whoever we had playing at the back last season. Who would have been next to Carter Vickers? I can't even. Well, sorry, Liam Scales was really good. That's hard. I'm going to get hate for that. But basically, okay, I'll take that because I thought Liam Scales, I love Liam Scales, and actually Liam Scales when he came on had a great 50-50 late on in the game. But Austin Trusty is terrific. He looks really good. Really impressed with him. And the big thing for me, last night was the way the team maintained and actually upped the performance levels as the game went on, which was the opposite of what we saw last season. Last season, we really tired in these games. I think part of that is the team's more like disciplined, more experienced at Champions League level now. And I also think our subs, or the squad depth is a lot stronger. Last night, you bring Bernardo on. Last season, I don't think we've got like a sub like that who comes in and plays at that level. Bernardo just, came right on and fitted right in via Ida, etc. So I think the squad's a lot stronger than a year ago, and I just think the experience in the playing squad from last season, but also the previous year as well, the season we had under Ange in the Champions League. I just think the team are just they look like a team that belong at Champions League level now. Like some of the stuff we played last night was just like a joy to watch. Leipzig were chasing shadows at spells of that game. The one late on, the one touch football, I think Yang and McGregor and Johnston were involved. That was like the best football I've ever seen Celtic play in my life.
I was going to say, a headline that is beating RB Leipzig, one of Celtic's best performances in Europe. It has to be up there with one of the best performances in Europe in your lifetime, Hamish. It has to be. It'll certainly be in your top three, I would imagine.
Yeah. In terms of playing like that, yeah, 100. Beating Barcelona was an amazing performance, but it was a different performance. I'm not taking anything away from that, but watching Celtic beat a team like that, playing that way, was so satisfying.
Yeah, and as you see, some of the stuff they played, the midfield was excellent. Callum McGregor and RB Leipzig were on a different level. And there was one part of the game when I think it was McGregor, he was getting hounded down and chased down. There was about 3 or 4
I know the bit you're talking about. Yeah.
Swarming around him, and they played it out, and they managed to get up the park. And I just say, it's wee things like that you say to yourself, see if Celtic don't panic. A lot of the time, the wounds were self-inflicted when they were playing in these matches. You go back to last year, the self-inflicted wounds against Lazio, when you snatch defeat from the jaws of a draw and even a victory. That's proven that they're learning. And Brendan Rodgers said you have to learn to play at this level. And they took a weapon of all weapons, and people were on their case, and they bounced back incredibly from that. There's a strong mental fortitude about this Celtic team now. And also last night, one thing for me, the ball retention, the game management, and the bravery, it was all there for me, Hamish, last night. In spades, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I'm thinking, this is Celtic. This is my team. They're doing this to.
How long have we waited? How long have we waited for that?
Yeah. And it seems that it's been an eternity, and you always felt that it was in them. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but my overriding emotion is just pride in that team. From what happened in match day 2 to this point, and you just say to yourself, wow. And it's about a lot of things, It's about the manager who, the hill I will die on, he's an elite level manager.
Oh, and 100%, yeah.
And we have, I said it yesterday, we're very guilty of talking down what we actually have. Celtic are a quality team with quality players. I said it on the briefing yesterday. I heard so much about RB Leipzig and their quality, and I said, but we've got to stress Celtic quality, and every piece of Celtic quality came to the fore last night. And see, when you're a quality team, you get quality results. It stands to reason.
That's the thing.
It falls into place.
You look at the entire team, and I hope the defence doesn't go unnoticed either. Alistair Johnson, like he's in danger of becoming a bit like Cameron Carter-Vickers, in that he's just taken for granted. You very rarely actually single Alistair Johnson out, but this season, that guy's energy and his consistency and his quality, he's involved in the third goal last night. Unbelievable. As I say, I thought Trusty was excellent. I thought Carter-Vickers, who's clearly getting back to full fitness, but I thought Carter-Vickers was great last night. You know, Taylor, Vai, Kasper Schmeichel. You know, you speak about what's different about Celtic now that maybe wasn't in previous years, and maybe it's Kasper Schmeichel making the big saves at the big moments, because again, I hope it doesn't go unnoticed, but he made a cracking save near the start of the second half from the Leipzig, the volley from the Leipzig player down low to his left after he hadn't had much to do in the game. So you know what I mean? It's just like everything's coming together, and like the confidence that that team will take from last night, their first major victory, going and playing that way against a top team, a team who are the second best team in the Bundesliga at the moment, and completely dominating them. The confidence levels are only going to go up as long as they don't get complacent ahead of like Club Brugge, which I don't know if you heard Rodgers after the game, but he's saying we need to stay humble. So there's no chance of the team getting complacent. Take it game by game, and we'll comfortably finish in the top 24.
I think the confidence they'll get from knowing that the process works, this style of play can be successful.
Yeah.
You as I say, they played two different games back to back and got 4 points in the two hardest games they will play in this section. Maybe Aston Villa apart, but we don't know how that'll pan out. But back to back, they were arguably the two hardest. You know, Dortmund was difficult. We knew that, but to get that 4 points, as I say, playing the way they did in both of those matches, the confidence surge you get from that, you trust the manager, you trust what he's telling those players, and they are clearly learning, because the performances from Atalanta onwards have just gone like that. They really have. They've been excellent, and it doesn't matter who's playing. They're all getting the memo. They realise that, you know, once you're on that pitch, I mean, you know, everybody was raving about Hatate and stuff like that, and various players, but Callum McGregor produced arguably his finest performance in a Celtic jersey, and we've been watching Callum McGregor do that for years and years and years. But last night he was just different gravy. He was unbelievable, and it was that calmness and that. I mean, I mentioned that bit where he was swarmed around and he had the players and they played it out. And Joe Hart was just like, he was mesmerised by Callum McGregor. In the TNT commentary box, he just said it's a lot of it was down to him, and I have to say I agreed. I just thought he was immense, and I'm not saying Callum McGregor's unsung or that he's not, but he's just taken for granted. You talk about players that are taken for granted, you know what I mean? And he's been doing.
I was going to make that point, Tony. Like, see, imagine. And I like these players, but just see the hype around some Scottish-based players who play down south. Imagine like John McGinn had put in that performance last night, or Billy Gilmore, someone like that. McGregor never gets the credit from, you know, the media to do his performances. And McGregor, for me, I don't know if it's a mad thing to say, for me, he's probably the greatest player Scotland's produced in the last decade and a half. Like, he's unbelievable. No other players played at that Champions League level consistently performed like that.
He's arguably the best player Scotland's produced this century.
I think there's a conversation to be had, yeah, definitely.
And that performance last night would not have looked out of place in a team like Borussia Dortmund, in a team like Atlanta, in a team like RB Leipzig. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Play for them.
Yeah, he could have walked into any of those teams last night and did the same. And you're right, he doesn't get his just rewards at times, but he's not.
I don't think he cares though. I don't think it.
It doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter to him, which is great. But I just think that without Callum McGregor, as you see, in the last decade of a half, Celtic wouldn't have won anywhere near what they've achieved. And I was delighted for him last night, more than anybody on that football pitch.
Yeah.
Because, and you saw what it meant to him. He was going around and he was given all that. And I think it was one of them where he thought, do you know what? That was it. That's the display that a lot of people will, when he finally walks off into the sunset, they'll say, remember his display against RB Leipzig. And he deserves that. And he deserves for more to happen for him because he has been a wonderful player. He's 31. People keep telling him he's in the twilight and it won't be long before he is hanging up his boots. But see, like playing like that, he can go on for a fair bit longer now.
Yeah, he's so clever. Listen, I'm going to go through a few comments. And I'm on my phone, Tony, so we might struggle with this. Seamus saying, wee Calmac was outstanding. Wee man run the show. He was everywhere on the pitch. Just jump in at any point if you want, Tony.
Yeah.
Three misplaced passes out of 90, I think, from McGregor. I had a look at the stats earlier. Can't remember them all, but some of the stats in terms of like his duels and I think he gave a foul away. He didn't give a foul away yesterday, McGregor, and stuff like that.
Magnitude.
What?
In a game of that magnitude, he didn't foul anybody.
Yeah.
Tells a lot, doesn't it?
Kaiser reckons he's a 40 million man.
Yeah. On Saturday, he picked up a booking for his first challenge. The world's gone mad.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, Nicholas Kuhn was he got the official man of the match, didn't he? I mean, the first goal was unbelievable. The pass for the Maida chance is fabulous, and he's involved in the third goal, wasn't he, as well? Because it's his pass to Johnson.
And do you know what? See, Maida tried to do what he did on Saturday, but didn't realise he wasn't as close to the goal as he was on Saturday, and tried to go for power. He did the skillful curler on Saturday, but he was really close to the goal, so. It was,
I just never felt he was going to score. I never felt Maida was going to score.
There are times when I don't feel Maida when running through like that isn't going to score, and that was one of them last night because, as you see, but the pass was exquisite. It's just like absolutely brilliant. And Kuhn's goal, but I still saw a lot of kind of shuriken of Arnott Engels.
Oh, he was great.
But honestly, see last night, see that wee flick for.
Outside of the foot.
Brilliant. Just game awareness, spatial awareness. He's got that in his locker. I thought Arnott Engels was decent last night. He has grown into his role at Celtic and he's young and he's taking time to settle down, but I thought he performed well too. So lots of people were saying, he was rotten in the first half, he was this or that. Listen, they are entitled to their opinion, but I was watching them closely and I thought, do you know what, Arnott, you'll do for me. You're coming on at a decent rate, and you will improve under this manager because that's what he does. And I was just you really can't fault anything about that. As I say, that wee spell had Leipzig made it 2 with that header, it didn't. It went by the post. Then your man slices the chance wide. But after that, it was all Celtic, and they woke up. It actually took going a goal down to wake them up again because he had a good 15 minutes and then like scored and had that spell and you thought, okay, we're in a game, and that's when you've defeated a good team and defeated them well, and it could have been more. I mean, Maida's had a goal flagged for offside, there's been a couple others, Hattati's hit one wide, various other chances as well, so it didn't flatter Celtic. That was a great thing about it. That scoreline did not flatter Celtic in any shape or form.
Remember the one Kyogo had just before we get the second goal?
Yes, that's right.
With 3 players. Forgot all about that.
Correct. So
Kyogo was good. Kyogo was really good, I thought.
because he kept him occupied.
Yeah.
It was that. It was what Brendan Rodgers spoke about in the pre-match, being educated in your pressures. I love that statement because they carried that out last night. You saw that, and as I say, Joe Hart in the commentary box was brilliant. He was telling you, talking you through that, and that's what I loved about last night because the manager spelled it out to you pre-match. As I say before, if you tune in, you'll find you'll find those hidden gems. He said there would be spells of pressure. They took that spell of pressure after they went a goal down. But he said you will have your own spells of pressure in the match, but you need to be educated and you need to be wise. And again, going back to ball retention, game management, bravery, it was all there, Hamish. It was all there. And that's the performance that Celtic supporters have craved for a long, long time because you knew it was there somewhere and you knew they could bring that out. And just, as I say, your overwhelming emotion today is pride in that team for where they've came from after Dortmund, going to Italy, getting a point, and then last night blowing a top team away. I mean, they blew them away.
Yeah, I remember looking at those 4 fixtures to begin with, and thinking 4 points would be pretty good. I would sign up for 4 points. 6 would be amazing. The thought of getting any more than 6 from those 4 fixtures, given our recent record. I mean, last season, what, 4 points, and sorry, we got 1 point from our first 5 games. I think the previous season we got a total of 2 points, was it, from our 6 games, and now already we've got 7 from 4 games. Like, it's a hell of a achievement. Mark saying it was good to see the players believe in themselves, and as I said, I think, Mark, the belief's only going to soar after last night. Real Hatati was immense, says Maestro. Agreed. Sorry, Tony, and you come.
But we believed, didn't we? We believed in that team because the scenarios were the same. It was you that said proceed with caution because we beat St Johnstone 6-0 and then get gubbed off Dortmund.
Yeah.
But it was just a different feeling getting into this one, and it was the home court advantage as well. We're not shying away from that. But I just felt that we spoke about it on Monday. I just felt there was something special in there. It was there to be grasped, and Celtic grasped it, and I think they grasp it in a way that you are rubbing your eyes. Like, did that actually happen? Did my team actually play like that? Did they look good on that European stage? Did they finally look like a team that belonged there and produced that marquee performance? I think you would call it, wouldn't you? It's the marquee performance of Brendan Rodgers' 2 reigns. They had a good game against Anderlecht away where they played well.
Yeah.
And they went up to
different level.
So this is the standout marquee performance that was always in Celtic and Brendan Rodgers' team if they got it right, if everything they touched on to gold, which happened last night.
You're talking about the listening closely and carefully to the manager, and don't know if you caught this after the game, but and I listened to this in a couple of different interviews, so it was clearly something he was wanting to get across. But he called Nicholas Kuhn out a little bit, I think, in his press conference, and also in, I think, the Celtic TV interview. He said he wasn't happy with Nicholas Kuhn's pressing. He said he needs to get better at that. And as I say, he said that in not 1 but 2 media outings. So it's clearly something that he wanted to get across. And I just think that's quite interesting. Clearly, Kuhn is going to be getting plaudits all around Europe. I mean, back in his homeland, they'll be talking about, well, not that outlet that's calling him no name superstar or whatever, but generally speaking, he'll be getting plaudits and man of the match he got from UEFA, and we're all waxing lyrical about him. But there's the manager just kind of letting him know, and he obviously knows the kind of person Kuhn is, so he knows what works with him, but just letting him know that there's still a lot of improvement to be done, and that's what you want. That's what you want in terms of development. And he's also talking about staying humble as well. He was asked about, I think he was asked about finishing in the top 8, and he was basically saying, "No, we'll stay humble, 1 game at a time." Now, secretly behind the scenes, he may well be saying something different, but I just thought, even after the game, I thought Brendan Rodgers got it spot on. Because, right, last night was amazing, absolutely amazing. And as you say, at times you scratch your eyes watching it. Personally speaking, I think Celtic should be at that level. I
Yeah,
think, we're the size of club we are. If everything's going well, okay, not every match, you're not going to play that every match, but we should be every season having games like that. So I don't think it's a case of running around and going, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. I think the manager had the right tone when he went, we've not done anything yet. We're only 4 games in. Great night, but we'll move on and go again for the next game. It was just the perfect tone.
it's the manager's vault and ambition to take this club to that level and to be
Yeah.
regular performances like that, to put in regular performances like that at that level. That's his dream for this team. And nothing has been achieved, but what you can, nothing has been achieved. They beat a top team. He mentioned before before the game that they were a top team. It's the manner of that performance and the manner of that victory that will have pleased him greatly. Now you have to replicate that. I talk about peaking. You're going to have to peak again and keep peaking and prove that that wasn't a one-off in this group, that you can do it. You put Slovan Bratislava to the sword, but there again, they're a different proposition. Supposedly one of the weaker side. But this is the manager's dream for Celtic, to play like that consistently in Europe and show that the model and the process and way of playing can be successful and can work. And it can. We know it can. And I love what he did with Kuhn. That's just keep yourself on the, keep your feet on terra firma, as they say, and don't get carried away. And he chooses his battles wisely in that sense, Brendan Rodgers, because he never throws players under the bus at all.
He obviously knows that Kuhn can take it, and Kuhn,
this guy scored twice. He's he's going to get all the herograms, but there's a couple of things in his game that, as a manager, I'm seeing that don't impress me, or I need more in this sense, and I love that because I just think it keeps you grounded.
Yeah. And I think as a support, it's going to be difficult, but I think as a support, we need to kind of try and feel the same way, be very excited about this team. But when it comes to Club Brugge, it's going to be another hell of a battle. They play Aston Villa later, which I think will be of interest, because that's obviously 2 teams we're going to face in the next few months. So that will be one to watch. But Club Brugge, I think they're at home to Villa. They've got 3 points. So if they were to lose that, they're going to be coming to Celtic Park in a similar place to what Leipzig were. And I think that really played into our hands. But that's going to be another really challenging game. But if we go in with the same attitude as a support, and the players go in with that same attitude of wanting to go and show Europe again what we're all about, it's certainly a game you think we can win.
It just puts the biggest smile on your face seeing Celtic perform like that at that level, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's better than, I think it's better than most domestic feelings. I mean, winning the league's pretty special, but watching Celtic at that level play like that takes a lot of beating.
Yeah, it takes a lot of beating, and and you mentioned a word there, complacency. I'm hearing a lot of, reading a lot of social media saying, bring on Rangers right now, we're going to do this and that to them in the final. Final's always a one-off game, and against your rivals, they are the only club domestically that are capable of beating you at this moment in time. So I know you're going to get a lot of that before the final, and the finals are a bit away. There's games to be played before that, but I think that's what the manager's probably saying as well. He's hearing that mood music, and he's telling everybody to stay humble. That's the message there. Just, you earn the right to win football matches. It's always the same. And, it's hard to curb your enthusiasm and to temper it, because you just feel this team's going to get better and better and better, and that excites you. But with it, you've got to just kind of stay real and stay focused as well. And I said before, I wrote it a couple of weeks ago, that the only team that will stop Celtic from winning the titles themselves, and the only team that will stop Celtic from going to Hampden and putting on a show is themselves. So you feel confident in this manager, you feel confident in this group of players, but the manager's right. You just stay humble, and it is that old cliche. You take it one game at a time, and it's a cliche for a reason, because it's a truism in football. You can't afford to project ahead or too far ahead and say we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It has a habit of coming back to bite you. Next one's Kilmarnock Sunday, Rugby Park. Bring it on.
Tough one.
Of course, it is probably arguably one of the toughest you could get.
Yeah. I lost there twice last season.
Again, you've got a squad to freshen it up and do things differently if need be. McCowan, maybe Adam.
You'd start Ida, wouldn't you, based off the last game at Rugby Park?
He was brilliant on that surface the last time, exactly. So, and you have that luxury, and you have that, you have that in your head, and the manager will probably be thinking about stuff like that as well. And that's, the games can't come quick enough now, Hamish. And after last night, you're just like, you know what? It doesn't matter who we play on Sunday. Just like you just want it to happen because you're so excited for where it can go. And I think as supporters, you are allowed to dream and see where it takes us. But I think the manager's just sort of saying, just rein yourself in a wee bit, don't get too carried away. We are getting there slowly but surely. And I think everybody's excited to see how this unravels in a good way. And see where they can take it.
Certainly, it's been a hell of a start to the season. Final of the League Cup, top of the league, only dropped 2 points, and already get 7 points from 4 Champions League games. Like I think you're right. You don't want to get too far ahead, but if you do, just everyone just allow yourself for a little minute and just imagine, if you want to, this as what this season could entail. And imagine you were looking at like a treble and we made it to the knockouts of the Champions League. You'd be talking about one of the great Celtic seasons of the last few decades. And I think that's all achievable, but I think you're right. I think the team will take it gradually. Sunday's going to be tough.
I think those things will be spoken about in-house, Hamish.
Maybe one of the targets, yeah.
You have your board, your targets. Set them high, aim as high as you can go. Outwardly, humility, always. But inwardly, be ambitious. Set yourself those targets. And why not? That's what football's all about. It's for we're the eternal optimists and dreamers. The players are the doers and the managers are the doers, aren't they? And they're the ones that can bring that joy into your life. And they brought an unbelievable amount of unbridled joy into your life last night. There's just no other way of putting it. We were on at 1:45 in the morning, still on the briefing, and like the numbers just now, 770 odd people were joining us. Everybody just wanted their say. Everybody just wanted to come on and just enthuse about it. And that glow hasn't left you since you woke up this morning. I know you've had the longest day ever, but
it's been amazing.
You're just positively brimming because you are excited about everything and everything about this campaign and what it could entail. But first stop's Rugby Park Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, big game.
Yeah, of course it's a big game. They're all big games now, and now the thing about Celtic as well is it's a big game for oppositions because they'll be seen as a scalp. The same way that RB Leipzig was seen as a major European scalp for us. Celtic are now that scalp, both domestically and in Europe now, because they are making waves, making splashes. People are talking about them for all the right reasons.
Yeah, right, okay, we'll head off now. Could say and talk all day, probably, Tony. We've got stuff to get on with, and we can reconvene tomorrow.
You need to sleep, I think, at some point.
I feel like I need to sleep. My laptop's packed in, so that'll be my big task for tonight or tomorrow to try and fix that for tomorrow's stream. Listen, I know there'll be there's a lot of you watching, as Tony says, nearly 800 of you live, plenty of you watching after the event as well. If you have just come across us, maybe, or if you've been here for a while and haven't yet managed to subscribe to the channel, it would be much appreciated. It allows us to grow the channel. It costs you absolutely nothing. Sometimes when people hear subscribe, they think, oh, need to get my wallet out. But that's not the case. It's completely free and it's just a click of a button. So if you'd mind doing that, it'd be much appreciated. And continue the good feeling. I'm terrible, Tony. I'm capitalising. I'm using Celtic winning as a vehicle to get people to subscribe. I'm shameless, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna head off for now. We'll return tomorrow. We'll return tomorrow. Right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the feeling of supporting a top European team. As I say, we'll catch you this time tomorrow.